chaos here this morning. It's fine. It's fine.
What's wrong, you guys? Get it together.
I'm trying. I'm sorry.
I like the chaos.
That makes one of us.
If you want to create chaos, start talking about entities, because then all kinds of stuff starts happening. So
Well, that might explain my last couple of weeks then. That's good.
yeah. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to reach out and we're going to pull your beautiful bodies in to come and talk to us. We would love for you to come and hang out. I'm not sure if we can see all of the comments, so if we're missing you, it's not because we don't love you. It's because perhaps your comment isn't showing up for us, but please drop in comments. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here to talk ghost stories. Tales of the spirit world.
I feel like we should have sound effects like
Next time. I'm Linda Rozzoli, and I am here with the amazing Cass. Oops. Cat. I've lost the plot. Cass. And Chris, I figure out how to point the right direction.
It's okay. We can just wave.
So I'm a Talk to the Entities facilitator, and I am a lover of ghost stories.
Me too.
Me too. Anybody else out there like in for a good ghost story? Halloween season is creeping up, and we thought we would get together and we would share some ghost stories. You guys have submitted some amazing stories. So
yeah. One thing I love about ghost stories, for me, with like as a kid especially, is that you have this kind of bland world, right? And you're living in the bland world. And then like you get touched from like a different world, like a spirit world, like a magical world. And you're like, whoa. Like, so it really used to acknowledge my awareness that there was something greater. There was something more than just this like bland, boring, everyday life.
It's like the hot sauce.
Hot sauce, yeah.
Hot sauce of life.
Hot sauce of life. and I have like, and I know maybe eventually we could share some of our own, but I have like spooky ones. Like I was scared. I have magical ones where I was like, you know, like whisked away to something different. And I love that some of these stories are touching on all these different kind of areas of ghost stories that have just been around the world.
Yeah, I love that play of, ghost stories can be anything, right? They can be like terrifying, and they can be so magical and empowering, and they can make you so curious, and they can make you laugh. So I wonder what we'll dive into today.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start? Does somebody want to share their ghost story? Chris, do you have one?
Like Chris.
Put me on the spot like that. I do. It's not necessarily an animal one, but it's my first ghost story.
Love that. Yes.
And it's happened to me when I was a kid. So I don't remember. This is the recounting of my family members. But my grandfather was in the hospital. He was dying of cancer. So my parents left me with my godparents, and they went to the hospital to see him. I was 4 years old. I don't have any actually recollection of this, but and you know, back before the days of cell phone and easy communications and things like that, they were like over an hour away. And I guess I woke up in the morning and I came down for breakfast and I looked at my godparents and I was like, well, granddad's gone to heaven. He came to say goodbye to me last night. And they were kind of like, what? And then my parents showed up like a couple hours later to sort of confirm that that's actually what had happened. And I guess there was a bit of a story and there was some kind of connection to what I had seen and what had happened in the hospital. So everyone was a little bit, goosebumpy about that. So.
Goosebumps. When you think of that story, do you think of it with, like, what's the sense of it that you get? Does it give you warm fuzzies or goosebumps?
I think honestly, I was pretty aware as a child. I was a little bit ahead of my age group as far as understanding of the world and capacity, or like just capabilities at 4. So I honestly think that was sort of the turning point of where I started to turn things off, actually, because I saw on everybody's faces how uncomfortable that they were when I talked about that. So, through the work that I've done over the years and, honoring and acknowledging my current capacities and ability to see these things, it took me a long time. But when I looked back, I was like, where did that go? And why wasn't that nurtured? But I think that was it. It was the recognition that I freaked everybody out. And I was such a little people pleaser that I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of mixed feelings. Like it's a really cool encounter. And at the same time, it's a little bit, I wish that I had grown up with the knowledge, that we're exploring now and here, just to see where that could have gone a little differently. But
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
feelings.
I wonder how many people out there watching us kind of have something similar, like a vague memory or a common family story that people tell, where maybe to the child, the awareness wasn't a big deal. Like maybe it's like to the kid, like I just sense you as a little kid, you weren't like, oh my God, grandpa, what? This is so freakish. You were just like, yeah, this is normal. And then it's people around you that have the points of view, and it invalidates your beautiful strengths and capacities.
I think you really hit on it, because that's what the way my mom sort of spoke about it. She made it sound like I just said it so matter-of-factly that that's what weirded people out. Like I wasn't upset. I was just like, okay, this happened. Yeah.
The matter-of-factness of a spirit world.
Well, and about death, which is really uncomfortable for a lot of people. So, but I've never had discomfort around the topic. So maybe a combo, I guess. But
I wonder if anybody else out there had grandparents come and visit them when they were little.
Mm-hmm. You get any stories like that, Cass?
I haven't gone through them all, but I'll look. Yeah, and I love that. Like kids are so willing to be aware and not have a point of view. And to have these super powerful mega kids and parents that have really bought into this reality, and those mega kids like show them a different possibility that can be terrifying. And then we as kids we're like, we don't want to terrify our parents. Like, I'm just a little 4-year-old, I'm just this little, and like you said, people pleaser, Chris. It's so powerful to look at that and really go, where have I cut up my capacities so I didn't scare other people? Like, where did I do this so I could people please? What have I negated about myself so that other people could feel comfortable around me? And what if now's the time for us to frickin' turn it around, amp it up, and just have fun with it?
And that totally, we only would have done that when we were 4. We would never still be doing that.
No. Why would we do that?
Full of sarcasm.
I see Suzette is in the chat there saying hello. Hello, Suzette.
Hey.
I love Suzette. She's a werewolf for sure. Of the world. Do we want to get it? Do we want to read a ghost story?
Let's read a ghost story.
Hate it.
Okay. I'm like, I should have pre-read these. But I didn't, you guys. So if I say something inappropriate, blame the people that sent this.
Well, we've put a form out for people to fill out and share stories with us. So Cassie right now is just like looking through all these amazing stories you guys have shared. We're not going to get to all of them today, but we're going to be sharing them over the course of our lives. We're going to do 3 of them. So,
Okay, here's the dog one.
okay.
All right. So this is Soul's ghost story. My beautiful, amazing dog. She came to me to say goodbye. It was a week after I put her to sleep, so she'll stop suffering. She came to me early in the morning just before I opened my eyes. I felt her like a huge whale swimming next to my bed with total joy and bliss and gratitude, saying without words, "It's all good. I'm okay. I'm joyful and blissful. Don't worry and don't be sad. You did good. I love you and I'm very much alive." Oh my God, I couldn't be sad after that no longer. She is not dead. LOL. I'm grateful for her.
Right. I'm like, the hairs are standing.
Such a sucker for animal stories.
Wow.
Well, and just that acknowledgement she's not dead.
Yeah. I love too that this little animal came. You would think as the pet owner, it's your job to take care of this pet as they transition and, you know, and be the caretaker. And here comes this little massive being to say, hey, you did so good. I am so great. What a celebration of what we created and are continuing to create.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And a little bit of what that, or Chris, you're saying about different points of view about death, like that's a totally different point of view.
Totally.
Like she's alive. Like everyone that we've lost are alive. It's just a different form. And when you look at the spirit world from that point of view, it's totally different.
Yeah. Well, and just like Chris was saying, how she realized how wrong it was to kind of look past through that into that different realm, whatever you want to call it. She just got that wasn't a strength and a capacity to be celebrated. That was freakish and wrong. And you shut that down. And then how much like heavy hardship does that cause? Because you're not being all of you or knowing everything that you know about what's going on with pets or people, anyone, anything that passes on, that dies.
Yeah. That's so good.
It reminds me actually of a story. I went to see a magical body worker, and I was having all of this body pain. This was just a few years ago. And as he was working on my chest area here, my lips started feeling like horse lips. So I just
what are horse lips?
like
big, yeah.
Okay.
And so I just said it out loud. I said, "Oh my gosh, this gentleman has since passed on. So let's say hi to him too." I'm like, "Nick, I feel like horse lips." Like, and has his hand on my body and he goes, "How many animals, how many horses have you like stored up in your body?"
Whoa.
And I grew up on a ranch with horses just passing through continuously. Like we would have 40 head of horses at one time, and that would be a steady flow. But of that steady flow, there was a couple handful that really meant, like, really had my back, really had my back. And there was just this sense of he worked on my body and he asked me questions that those horses that I adored so much, it's like I had tried to trap them in me to keep them after they had passed on. But in doing that, I was not free and they were not free. I couldn't have them.
Mm.
The gift that they were to me and the gift that they could still be. So we had this beautiful session where he was just kind of like assisting me in releasing those from my body. And then the being of those animals was so much more present to me. It wasn't like locked away in the past. It was a present thing right now that I could tap into any of those horses.
Wow. So then, oh, I'm echoing. What? And then you're receiving from that space. That is so beautiful, Linda.
Yeah, it was like I wasn't receiving from everything that they were. I was trying to lock them down into a one body, one lifetime story.
Wow.
Keep that with me.
Yeah. And keeping them in this plane.
Yeah.
They're not
And it was causing me physical pain.
wild.
You guys don't come to a Talk to the Aunties class with Linda and have this stuff unlocked from your body. Just kidding. Do come.
Don't come.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
So just even as we're sitting here telling these stories, they're like so different, but I'm just like invite everybody to drop all the barriers of the way that you're trying to keep yourself safe from any beautiful creatures that would like to contribute to you, that would like to gift to you. Chris didn't have to be scared of her grandpa. I don't have to be scared of my horses.
Oh. That was so cool. Do we want another story?
Do you have one, Cassie? Can we put
A
yours?
personal one? Oh yeah. I've got lots. I've got spooky ones, like really scary ones.
Do you have one of like anyone or anything that has passed and came to you after they have died? Like in a gifting way?
Since not as a child, as in my adult life, yeah. Like I've known some cool people that I just met through Access Consciousness, and it was like, oh my God, they like a sudden death, and they came to say goodbye to me. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know we're that close. Thank you so much. Like that's really cool. Yeah. I do have actually this one little funny story. I was my Nana had passed, and I was not close with her. I actually don't like her. No offense, but she. So my mom obviously was going through some stuff as her mother, and so I was just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. It doesn't really affect me. And that day, I just kind of felt like irritated though. Like I was just super irritated. And I'm like walking around the house, and I'm like cleaning, and I'm like doing the dishes, and I'm getting more and more irritated. And I don't know why. Like I'm just ignoring it. I'm like choosing not to address this thing.
Been there.
And I just turn around, and I'm like, what? Stop. I'm like, who am I talking to? Oh my God, Nana.
Nana.
All day. Talking to me.
Nana.
And I'm like, but I didn't, my perception of it, the way I was receiving it was, I'm irritated. Yeah. Not Nana's irritated at me because I'm ignoring her. So I'm like, Nana, what? What do you want? And then she's like, tries to go into this whole remorse. And I'm like, dude, we're good. Talking pod. Like, I'm fine with this. Let it go. You're forgiven. Whatever. Let it go. And then so that changed. And then she goes, she starts like panicking because I'm like, okay, I'm just going to clear her now. You know, we know the talk to entities tools, and we have these amazing tools where we can clear entities. So not only do you like start to engage with them, you have tools to deal with them. Okay, so you don't want Nana moving into your house like me.
With a body or without a body, do you want your Nana living with you?
Some people have amazing Nanas, maybe they would, but not me. So then she starts going, I need you to tell your mom. And she starts describing this ring. And she starts freaking out like this. It's supposed to go to her. And I'm like, oh my, okay. I'm like sketching. And she's like, draw it. And I'm like, are you okay? Literally, I'm drawing the ring. What is the gem? Okay, it's like this. Okay. And she's like, it's like it's supposed to go to her, like all this stuff. I'm like, okay, all right. Okay, Nana, I will do this, but you must go now. Bye-bye. And so I cleared her. It was great. It was actually really cool. I'm making it seem like I was only irritated until I started addressing it, and then all my irritation left. Yeah. It's just more comical this way. So I call my mom and I'm like, hey, any chance like any jewelry was left for you? And she's like, I don't know. Like, all her stuff got raided by certain family members. What happens. She's like, but there was this one ring that she always told me about that was for me. And I'm like, describe it. She described the exact thing I had sketched to the detail. And I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, Anna really wants you to have that ring. She's very in a much panic about it. And I asked Anna, will you contribute to it getting to her? And so she's like, okay, well, I'll ask around and see, if I can get the ring. So it was really cool in that way, like the communication and the gift that she wanted to make sure her daughter got this ring that it was just really important to her. And it meant a lot to my mom just to even have that conversation and to hear that, even if she never actually got the ring physically.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just noticing as you're talking, Cass, that I want to start coughing. So that can actually be like Cassie saying her irritation was a symptom. Coughing can be a symptom. I'm like, so the
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say she was also a very heavy smoker.
I was going to say she was a smoker, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a very heavy smoker, which was part of her death. Yeah.
That's really cool. The gift of talk to the entities for me is to become curious and not to default to one like emotion or reaction with anything, stuff that's going on with your body, your mood, your electronics, like you can list on, but to ask the question, what am I aware of? Like if I wasn't thinking, if I wasn't feeling, what am I aware of? And then just to be brave enough to trust yourself. Like it would have been so easy for Cassie to say like, oh my God, like this is stupid. I'm drawing a ring. Like,
Cass, can I ask you a question about that? Do we have time for that? I'm just curious because that's a part of my interest in, the class and is learning more. Like how did she show up for you, and how did you recognize that it was her? Like, did you see her? Did you just hear her in your head, or was it like this knowing that came over and then you started a conversation? Like, how does that look for you when it happens?
Oh yeah, I love that question. And like Linda had kind of said, it can show up different every time. But in this case, it was like, okay, are there certain people that if you had your eyes closed and they came up and hugged you, you could you'd sense their vibration, like you'd know who it was? And it's okay if not.
Yeah.
So for me, people have energetic signatures, like. So it's just like, that's their vibration. Like certain smells, like this is cookie smell. This is like my brain categorizes all these different vibrations. And so when I turned around and looked into my blank kitchen, there was kind of visually a female something, but nothing clear, just a something. And you could tell it was female. And then when I was like, what is this? It was like the vibration of my Nana. And I'm like, I know that vibration so freaking well. So then I knew, okay, that's her. And then that's when I started to use my communication tools.
Okay. So it was asking that question though, like that sort of unlocked it.
But it is this. Yeah. Yeah.
It is this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. I feel like that's what I get a lot of, are just like little inklings, or like I catch things out of the corner of my eye and then I just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I think that people, like, when you think ghost stories, it's like something so tangible and physical and undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes our awareness is actually really subtle and light, and we need to perceive it and like turn towards it rather than dismiss it as nothing, because it's not as intense as like a bloody hand reached through the wall. You know? It can absolutely happen. But like, imagine you're a Formula One race car driver. Like, you have to, like, you have got so much horsepower underneath you that you have to be so subtle. You can't ram around like really aggressive, or else you're going to have a big wreck. So I think some people mistake subtlety for not having a capacity, when I wonder if the subtlety of your awareness is actually a sign of the horsepower that you got rumbling underneath you, that you have a capacity.
Very interesting.
So cool.
That's a neat way to think of it.
Yeah. Anything else before we go? I'm going to share the link to we have a simple intro class coming up. It's online, it's live in Kelowna. You can bring your body and hang out with us, or you can hop online.
Yeah.
And get like face to face with us.
Yeah, and Linda.
Okay.
Anna's still here. Anna's gonna hang out with Linda for a while. You'll talk to me, not like my granddaughter.
You know what I did? My grandma was hanging out with me, and she would pop up and pop up and pop up, and I was like, she kind of didn't really want anything really specific. And I would tell her again and again, listen, if you want to hang around, like, and still be you, you know, if you don't want to move on to something new and get a new body or choose something new, okay, that's fine with me. If that's enough for you, that's fine with me. You can hang around, but you can't hang around with me. Go hang around with one of my sisters. I would literally tell her that. Go hang around with Carol.
Go be with Carol.
Amazing.
I love that. And that's just such the gift of these tools, because the thing is we can pretend they're not there, like me trying to do the dishes, but they're there. So you can either handle it and send them to Carol or Linda, or you could just like suffer your awareness. I'm just so grateful, Linda, that you're coming to do this class, and the way that you have such a lightness with entities and a playfulness and an irreverence. Like, I love it. It's so fun for me because you pull all the significance off of it. Like the bloody hand coming through the wall. I think that's funny too. Because how are we going to get free of it if we're just terrified, right? Yeah. So if you guys, if you're feeling the pull, please join us, because we're going to probably be laugh crying, snorting, maybe.
It's not bubble.
Maybe Grandma will come. We'll have a cigarette together. I don't know. Whatever. Should we tell them our next ghost story?
Yeah, please, Cassie.
It's in 2 weeks from now. We're going to do this again with more stories.
More of the stories from our doc. If you do have the 12th, same time, same places on October the 12th. Yeah. And if you do have a ghost story that you're thinking of, we will pop the doc in the comments. In the comments. And you can share your ghost story with us. I'm just tapping into that ghost story, the story about that dog again. Wow. So thank you to all the bodies who came and watched us. Thank you to all the beings without bodies for coming to hang. And you can always ask them to give you a little bit of space if it's too intense. Just ask them to back up, just like you would ask someone with a body.
It's a very helpful tool.
Yeah. So to all the Nans, to Chris, to Cassie, and all the dogs, we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Sounds awesome.
Bye.
Thanks.